What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to Knives of the Round Table. And this time around, we're going to be talking about Chris Reeve Knives. Now, if you've been collecting knives for more than 2 minutes, you've come across the name of Chris Reeve. And that's because they established a benchmark in the industry for quality. Before Chris Reeve, you had your lower tier production knives. It was like, it's a production knife. And then you had your high end custom knives. And then along came Chris Reeve, and they were able to get custom quality level knives at a production price, or they brought the production quality of their knives up to custom knife quality. So whenever you hear about Chris Reeve Knives, it's because they've done such a good job at doing high quality knives that they became the standard. Okay, so today we're going to be talking, if you were curious about Chris Reeve Knives, if you were trying to see if you wanted to dive in, because these are not inexpensive knives, but if you wanted to dive into this brand, hopefully I can give you some guidance about where to go. If you were deciding between this brand and another brand, maybe this clarifies some things in your mind. So we're going to be talking about what they do, what the brand does right, where I think they're lagging a little bit, and I'll give you what I think is their iconic knife, and then I'll give you my final recommendation on what knife I would recommend that you get if you wanted to to kind of get into this. So the first thing that they do right, I think you have to start with quality. I think you have to start with fit and finish. I think you have to see that the precision of machining that they have is outstanding. It's second to none. For however many years they won the quality in manufacturing award from Blade Show. They did it however many years in a row, and it's because their tolerances are excellent. If you take your aluminum some here and you take it apart and you put it back together, you won't have any problems with centering. You won't have any problems at all. It'll go back the exact same way you had it when you disassembled it. And along with their quality and their machining comes reliability. All of these knives, they have phosphor bronze washers, and because they have phosphor bronze washers, you get a certain level of reliability, and because you won't have any grit, sand, and that kind of stuff, or it'll be harder for all of that stuff to get in. So quality, fit, finish, reliability, I think those are probably at the top of the list of what these guys do correctly. Now second, they have the Incosi lineup, they have the Sabenza lineup, and then they have their Umnumsons. And another thing that I think they do well is that for a lot of these knives you have a lot of options, right? And I've tried to select here a few. Like the Incosis, you can get with micarta or with carbon fiber. These are knife art exclusives, and you can get them in a drop point blade, in a sheep's foot, which they call the single blade, and you can get them in the tanto blade. Now the Sabenza, you have even more options. Oh, and you can get the large and the small of the Incosis. Now the Sabenza, you can also get the large and the small. I don't have a small one, but it's similar in size to the Incosi, a tad bit larger than the small Incosi. But with the Sabenza, you have one that is plain titanium, that is, what you see here. It's kind of a bead blasted, rougher texture titanium. You would get that on both sides. You don't get this clip. This is aftermarket. You can also get micarta. You can get carbon fiber. There's a knife art exclusive Sabenza with carbon fiber, You can get crazy wood inlays. You can get like max or ebony and all kinds of very beautiful wood. Or you can get this specific version. It's what they call their unique graphics. It's a polished titanium with some milling, engraving, and then some anodizing, and they do all kinds of crazy patterns and color schemes for it. Now the Sebenza you can also get in a drop point, in an in-single blade or a tanto blade, and the fancier versions of them you can get in a Damascus blade. So if any of these models, the aluminum zone, you can get this one or the drop point blade. Those are the two options that you get in their more heavy duty knife. So if you like the blade on any of these, if you like the look or the ergonomics of any of these, chances are you're going to be able to get either your plain titanium, your carbon fiber, your unique graphic, your wood, or your micarta, something that fits exactly what you want or what you like in a knife. So I think that's something that they do really, really well. And now we're going to move on to where I think they're lacking a little bit. And I think number one on my personal list is action. Okay, what you saw there, you can deploy it like that, but most of the time you're going to be kind of slow rolling it out. And it's because all of these are running on phosphor bronze washers. Okay, the action of a Chris Reeve knife, has been described by most people as hydraulic or glassy smooth, and I think those are apt adjectives. But they'll never match the action on a Hinderer or a Riyadh knife or any of those. The crisp, fast deployment. You don't get in any of these. You don't even get flippers on any of these. You don't get holes or anything like that. You just get these thumb studs, and you have to use a little bit of wrist to deploy them. So I think they're lacking a little bit in the action. And you have all of these models, and I think it's easy to just say, you know what, let's make things cozy. Let's venture into bearings, and let's try and give it a little bit better action, or whatever. Pick whichever, right? Or make a variant of the Sebenza, the Sebenza X, that does bearings, but something that gives you a little bit better action. Now, second on my list is material, and more specifically the material on the blade. Now, all of these, including this one, are S35VN. Now, I think this year, in the last 6-8 months, they started to use S45VN, which is a small increment to S35VN. But I think in general, the knife community and me personally would prefer like an M390 20CV blade, something to that effect, right? At the price point that these are coming in, you start at the 400 level, for and something for the plain ones, and then you start climbing into the $500 range, and then you start getting into the $600 range. I think you expect a little bit better specs. I don't think that the S35VN is a bad steel, don't get me wrong. And certainly when you have this many knives, you don't need that performance. It's not a need thing. But at a certain price point, as a collector, you do expect certain specs. So I do think that they could do a little bit better with their choice of steel. Now, part of the reason is because Chris Reeve, was involved in the development of S35VN and S45VN. So obviously they're going to use it. But even then, I think most people would prefer a higher steel. One thing that I forgot to mention is that one of the things that makes these knives so iconic is that Chris Reeve was the inventor of the integral frame lock. It was originally called the Chris Reeve Integral Frame Lock, which translated to titanium frame lock flippers now. But he's the one who came up with this locking mechanism, so that's pretty revolutionary for a brand. So I think the blade material and the action is things that I think Chris Reeve could do a little bit better. Now, when we're talking about Chris Reeve, I think the iconic knife in the lineup is the Sebenza, okay? And a lot of people, and for me in particular, it was my first Chris Reeve knife, because you hear about it so much, and I know you noticed, but I'm struggling to kind of flip it open, and that's part of the problem, that they're not known for their fast action. You have to use a lot of wrist to really get them there. But as I was saying, the Sebenza is their iconic knife in their lineup. Most people will get into the Chris Reeve knives and they'll go with the Sebenza. Now, if you're trying to get, your toes into the water, it'd be hard for me to convince you to not go this way, because it's hard to go against the iconic knife of the brand. But if you listen to me, I think I would go with the Inkosi. I think the ergonomics, these finger groups that you get in the Inkosi, they are so much better, than the Sebenza. This one has a very neutral handle, but this one just fits your hand so much better. Now, even the small Inkosi, now this one's a tad bit small, so if you have smaller hands, if you have smaller knives, smaller hands, then obviously go with the small one. But if you have larger hands, I think the large Inkosi will fit you very well. Now, I just want to touch base on fixed plates. These are also running on, or these are also made in S35VN, and I think that's the worst choice for a fixed plate. Typically you use fixed plates for much harder tasks, for much more harder use, and I just don't think that S35VN. I also have a Pacific that I don't have on me, and that's even worse, because a larger knife, sometimes you'll use it for chopping or batoning or something like that, and S35VN is just not made for that. But then you have a large knife, and that's what you're going to use it for. And it's a shame, because I think, for example, the Nyala, which I don't think you can get right now, but the Nyala is my favorite fixed blade. The size, the ergonomics, the blade shape, it's just an outstanding knife that I wish you had it in like a 3V steel or something to that effect. So there you have it, guys. If I were to go and find a Chris Reeve knife, I would highly suggest the Inkosi. Pick your blade shape. Oh, by the way, I think they do Tanto particularly well. It's just such a nice Tanto. But if you like the Chris Reeve knives, I would suggest the Inkosi. But if you want to go with the iconic knife of the brand, then you go with the Sebenza. Guys, thank you for watching. This is the Chris Reeve Knives brand overview, and until I see you again, have a good one. Take care.